since 2012, but I have actually had connections in Bellevue for many years, as my sisters lived here with their husbands who were in the Air Force, that they were stationed here at Offutt. And so Bellevue was a thing before I knew what Bellevue was for me. I also had taught 16 years at Bellevue West High School, worked with Ralph there, Bellevue West High School in the theater department. Prior to that, I worked with the Omaha Community Playhouse as the education director, and then the artistic director, and then the managing director of the Nebraska Theater Caravan. And prior to that, I was in Lincoln and worked as the artistic associate for Lincoln Community Playhouse, and in Beatrice, and worked as the artistic director for Beatrice Community Players. And my first teaching job, very first time I came to Nebraska, was in 1977 to teach in O'Neill, Nebraska. So I have had connections with Nebraska for a long time. I grew up in Western South Dakota, graduated from the University of South Dakota, but did my master's work in Lincoln. And that's all the exciting things about me. The one thing is, the very first time I ever directed in community theater was at Bellevue Little Theatre. And that was in 1978. It was about 10 years after the theater had been formed. Bellevue Little Theatre actually started in 1968, and we are celebrating our 52nd season. So when you said that we are kind of a fixture in the community in Bellevue, Marion Kennedy, Bobby Boughton, Ed and Betty Swanson, they were the people who first began this. And for 10 years, the theater sort of performed wherever anybody would let them. They traveled around to various places, in restaurants, in schools, in different places. And then I believe it was in 77, they bought the Roxy and moved in there. And in 1980, I performed in, I guess 1980 was the first time I directed there. I performed in Once Upon a Mattress as an actress, and that was the first time I was ever there. And it was a wonderful experience working with Sandy Thompson, and Ed was on stage with me, and Betty was on stage with me, and all these wonderful people. And then I came back that fall. I guess I directed for the first time that fall, and I did a children's show with them, and was very active on the board for a couple of years. And then my husband decided, I think I'll go to graduate school. So we moved to Lincoln, and then we did a bunch of wandering, and then we came back. And in 1994, I came back and directed again, did several shows. Then I started teaching school and didn't have time to do anything down here. And I retired in when did I retire? 2017. And I came back and directed a show the very next year. And so it's been fun to be off and on with the theater and watch it grow and change and watch all the new people come and go. I am again on the board of directors, which is an amazing experience. We are an all volunteer board of directors. And so that means we do all the nitty gritty, as well as, find money and support the organization, house manage, sell tickets. A lot of us are involved on stage or backstage in a different way. But it's a pretty exciting experience to be part of the board and to see what's going to happen. We do 2 musicals and 3 plays every year. And of course, despite COVID, we're still going to be able to do a 5-show season this year. Okay. We did only do 1 musical, and that was in the fall. And then we did change one of our shows, but Outsiders show number 4 and Temporary Insanity, which is a world premiere by a local playwright, will be number 5. So we're kind of proud of the fact that we've been able to serve our audiences despite what's been going on. And very exciting, Bellevue Community Foundation and Midlands Community Foundation gave us grants. So we now have cameras and mics and we'll be streaming every one of our shows that we can get rights for on top of doing live performances. So we were able to do a streaming of Almost Maine in November with rented equipment, but now we have our own equipment. So Outsiders will be streamed and Temporary Insanity will be streamed. So if you cannot get to the show, or you just don't want to put on clothes that day, you can still get to the performances. So all that information is available on our website, and I should know that by heart, but I don't. It's Bellevue Little Theatre Weebly.com, I believe. So Bellevue Little Theatre, I'm so glad you mentioned it about being kind of a cultural staple in Bellevue and Sarpy County, because our mission is to provide quality entertainment and arts education experiences for performers, for audiences, and for artists through vibrant theatrical productions in order to create a dynamic cultural center for Bellevue and Sarpy County. We sort of reframed our mission, and we really want to open our doors to do a lot of things. What you may not know is that People's Choice Awards usually does presentations at Bellevue Little Theatre. We open our doors and have lots of dance recitals that come in. There's Barbershop Quartet usually does their big show there. So the theater is available to other entities for use as well. We want to be some place where people can come together. And that doesn't just have to be at our performances. That can be at something that's happened. We have done classes. Way back, we started doing classes for kids way back in 1981, I think, and we've done it off and on with theater arts academies. And so there's a wide variety of things that we try and do. And we're looking, if anybody's got a great idea of what they'd like to see done at the theater or what the theater can be, we are wide open for ideas, and we want to become more a part of, we've always been a staple of Old Town. And as Old Town is changing and growing, we want to be a part of that growth and change. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any questions anybody has about the theater in general before I start talking about what's happening now?
I'll just make a comment. There's probably a lot of folks who associate Bellevue Little Theatre with the literal physical space at the old Roxy. But I was involved in a melodrama in 1977 at the old Miners Camp Saloon, which then became the former Knights of Columbus Hall down on Harlan Lewis Road. So yeah, it's fun to talk about. My first exposure to Bellevue Little Theatre was when it was traveling around, being able to perform and engage wherever there was space.
I remember a production that was at the Bellevue Queen. I think it was the very first one. It was a melodrama.
We used to do those melodramas as a staple for our season. But we don't do them anymore. I don't know if that's something people would like to see done or not. The traveling is something we had thought about. It's a little more difficult now. It probably will have to be post-COVID
Right.
because we have no control. But I think that is one exciting thing about getting out into the community. Actually, we did something, it must have been the fall of 1980, we did something called BLT to Go, where we would take a little show out to like the chamber or whoever was interested. And that was kind of fun, a little short 15-minute thing. Any other comments or questions?
I'm glad you went there. I've been rolling around an idea of how we can have kind of an arts show, if you will, for Bellevue, whether that be, painting, sculpture, etc. And I was thinking as you were talking, and then you immediately went there of, oh, it'd be cool if we could have little snippet performances by the Bellevue Little Theatre engaged in that. So it's a very holistic arts opportunity.
Well, and that might be something that would be intriguing to follow up on. We had done the little ones I was involved in, I wrote a little piece that did a preview of all the shows we were doing in our season. But being able to combine that, because we do always have visual artists who show in our lobby with every show, to be able to add visual artists. And we have some amazing dance studios in town.
Yeah.
Bellevue Dance Academy and Carrie's studio, that may be interested in doing something like that. So it might be fun to see what we could put together.
And I bet Bellevue University would be involved. Students there would like to be
yes.
involved as well.
Yes.
And I can call them high school students. I don't know. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent.
I love the brainstorm. I love the brainstorm. Well, I know both Jen and Joe at the high schools, and everybody's always looking for a new venue or a new place to take something. So maybe in this not breathing on people time and being careful, we can come up with a vision. Yeah.
Right.
I may be calling you, Kevin.
Excellent. That's what we're here for.
There you go. Any other thoughts, ideas, memories? Anybody wants to share?
I was going to say something. So ironically, the Bellevue Little Theater is actually the first place I ever auditioned for a show back when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And that is where I kind of got bit by the drama bug, the arts bug, and I didn't get cast in it. So this is the first time I've actually ever done a show at Bellevue Little Theater. And I'm very excited. Marya and I went to Bellevue West, and so I did several shows with her. And it's been so fun to kind of come back to where my little bite all started at Bellevue Little Theater, and with my director, who I worked with in high school. So it's been a really wonderful time. I've been having a lot of fun.
And I get to add a few things because I'm helping Sarah run lines. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, you're the guy. Oh, well, congratulations. She's doing great. She's doing great.
Yeah, it's fun. I can't contain myself. When we're running the lines, I just start laughing. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah. Well, we hope that continues when you join us in the audience, Joel. Yeah, I'm the one who's running lines with my husband, who happens to be in the show too. So I just can't get away from it. It goes with me wherever I go. Maybe that's a good segue into The Outsider. We're excited to be doing this piece. It opens on April 30th, which comes pretty soon, Sarah, doesn't it? On April 30th, and runs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for 3 weekends. That's April 30th through May 2nd, and 7th through 9th, and 14th through 16th. Our shows are 7:30 in the evening on Friday and Saturday, and a 2 o'clock matinee for old people like me who don't like to stay up late. All the information you need at Bellevue Little Theater, Weebly.com. And we are encouraging reservations. They're not necessary, but we encourage reservations. And we are still in COVID protocol. So we ask our audiences to wear masks. We take temps at the door. And there are socially distanced seating within your group in the theater. We're excited to have people back, and we hope we get some good houses here. The show itself is fairly new. It was first done in 2015 at Milwaukee Rep, and then it was done at Paper Mill Playhouse. And just as it was taken off, COVID hit. So we are the Nebraska premiere of The Outsiders. So we got 2 premieres in a row, one Nebraska premiere and then one world premiere. So we feel like we're making a mark here. The Outsider is full of witty dialogue, lovable characters, of which Sarah is one. Yes, lovable characters, very well crafted. And it's really a wonderful combination of a sort of, I won't say sarcastic, but comedic view of modern day politics. But it also it makes you think a little bit about how this all comes together. Everything that's right about our system of government and politics, and everything that you know, maybe we can step back and laugh at because it's not quite what we want it to be. It is delightful. The characters are delightful, and we have an amazing cast. Sarah Diggins as Louise Peaks, a newcomer to Bellevue Little Theater, Matt Bell is Arthur, Brennan Thomas as Ned, and this is Brennan's first show as well. Sarah Scheides, who's been in a couple shows there. She was in the Hound of the Baskervilles, the last, if you caught that one, she was in that one, played multiple characters in that. So Sarah, who am I forgetting? My
Husband.
my husband, Steve Thyberg, who hasn't been on stage for 25 years and is freaking out a little bit. And the last time he was on stage was at Bellevue Little Theater. The first time and the last time. Yes, he was in, gosh, what's the last show he did? It was Greater Tuna. He did Greater Tuna in 1996. So it's kind of exciting. And then Mike Pillmeyer is coming back. He was in Our Town last fall. He hadn't done a show ever before. So he's coming back as AC, our cameraman. And then Jessica Mascarello, who was also one of my students at Bellevue West, is coming back and is playing Rachel Parsons, the TV interviewer. So it's an exciting cast of seven wonderful performers telling a great story. Gosh, what else should we say about it? Sarah, what else do they need to know about the show?
It's very funny. If you're looking for an evening or an afternoon of laughs, we highly encourage you all to come, because it's like Joel said, my dad, he keeps laughing, running lines. So as the play itself is very well written and incredibly funny. So we're excited to put it out there.
It does kind of make you feel good about life when you get done with it. Yeah, it is oddly uplifting. Yes. Anything else you guys would like to know about it? Joey, and I never know how to say Joey, you know, I've known Joey for years and I still mispronounce his last name. Joey Lawrence is doing our set design and our light design. Sam Bass is doing our sound design. Nancy Benemeyer, a lot of you know Nancy. She worked with me at West on all the musicals and taught for years in Bellevue System. She's doing our costume design and also does all our set dressing to make our stages look fabulous. Nancy brings half her house down and puts it on stage. So if you've ever been to Nancy's house, you'll recognize some of the things you'll see. And Esmeralda is a student from UNO. She's our prop designer. And Maddie Hubbard and Mackenzie, I don't remember Mackenzie's last name. Mackenzie are our stage managers. And see, Sarah's going, I don't think I know. You know, she's just Mackenzie to us. They're both UNO students and they're coming down to help us. And Lily Ewing, who's a student at Bellevue East, is doing our lightboard op. And she did a lightboard for Our Town. So we have a lot of newcomers, a lot of people who've been there before coming back and joining us. I should have done some, and our special guest appearance, which is an appearance, is Don Harris, is appearing in a picture as Governor Larry Clark. The guy who resigns has to resign and starts the whole play on its feet. That's the reason everything happens. In the play, the lieutenant governor, who just likes being in the background and doing his job, is thrust into the role of governor when the governor, Larry Clark, who you only see in a big photograph, has to resign for reasons we'll let the play tell you. And it starts the whole ball rolling where Ned, who doesn't want to be the governor, makes a, what shall I say, quite a splash in his first social media presentation, and starts this whole thing rolling. The whole staff has to resign, and that's why Sarah's character comes in. She's the temp who comes in to save the day.
This
So,
sounds very art imitating life kind of.
well, it was the playwright has written just one other piece that I know of, and he's an actor as well. But he was inspired by politics early in the mid 2000s there to make a comment on what the world can be and will be and is. So it is. I think it's a lot more. Everybody can laugh at this one, where in the real world we can't always all laugh at things. So it's very nice that way.
Very kind of along the lines of you talking about this particular play. How did I'm not a drama guy necessarily, although Faith might argue with that I like drama around here. But like, how are the artistic decisions made, right? How do you select your plays, and what's the timeline for that, right? Do you already know what you're doing next season, or?
Well, yes. Normally in a real world, we will have already announced our season, but we're getting ready for our next season announcement. COVID sort of, changed everything for everybody, but within the next week, we will make that announcement. Every decision is made by the board and other volunteers. We have a play reading committee, which spends the year reading all kinds of plays and musicals and looking at what would suit our theater at the time, what our patrons would like. We also have an ongoing comment on our webpage. So if you just want to go, you can always comment on what you'd like to see at the theater. So there's a special tab there where you can put in suggestions of shows you'd like to see done. So we always look at those, and sometimes we do a mass push saying, okay, here's where we are. What would you like to see us do? We try and put together 2 musicals because our audiences love. Who doesn't love a musical, right? I love musical theater. Sarah's done musicals with me. You did a melodrama. Was there any music in your melodrama, Kevin, when you did it?
There was, yeah, actually.
There's music everywhere. We sit down together as a group and we try and balance what our audiences want, what our actors would like to do, what the challenges are for presentation and what we can afford, because we really, the way we do it is we have to make the money that keeps our space and our season going. So all of those go together, and there are 5 or 6 people on our play reading committee. Then we take that to the board. We say, this is what we would suggest. And the board says yes or no. And that's how we do it. And then we start the next year. So I rejoined the board 2 years ago, and I think we read at least 10 to 12 musicals a year, look at everything, and stacks of plays. We keep things in maybe that's not going to work this year because it doesn't balance. We want to have enough opportunities for a lot of different age groups, which is another thing. This year, we've been trying to build a show into our season that allows family participation or younger participation, like the show that Sarah probably auditioned for when she was 8 or 9. Do you remember what show that was, Sarah?
It was Annie.
It was Annie. Okay, so last year we'd hoped to do the best Christmas pageant ever, which is a wonderful piece, but we had to put that on hold. But it will be coming back in our season this year, which has parents and children. It's about a church trying to put on their Christmas pageant, and it has all ages, from like I think 7 to I don't know how old, that can be in that show. So we always like to have a show that as a family can get on stage, not only enjoy it from the audience, but get on stage. We like to have musicals, things that people have seen or heard of recently, maybe some things that are new that nobody's seen before. Bellevue seems to like murder mysteries, so lots of times we have some kind of murder mystery. and comedies, farces. So we like to shake it up a little bit. Temporary Insanity, which is coming up next, is about a dinner party, a fancy dinner party that's supposed to be hosted for somebody that's trying to start a business and they're showing off, and it involves pizza instead of fancy food. So there's a lot of farce and mistaken identity and mistaken things that come up in that. And John Flowers is directing that, and that's an exciting piece. I know that there's pizza involved. That's all I know, and lots of it, because we had to work that into the budget. Yeah. So does that answer your question, Kevin?
It does. It does. Yeah, I'm just was curious along the same lines, and I don't mean to be monopolizing the questions. I guess maybe I should stop for a minute, but along the same lines, I know for this particular production coming up, we've got Sarah, we've got Jessica Mascarello, who I know is a Bellevueite, but the Bellevue Little Theatre is attracting talent from regionally, correct? I mean, this isn't just a Bellevue talent theater.
We used to be even back when I did my first show, Once Upon a Mattress in 1980, I didn't live in Bellevue. I lived in Omaha, but I came down and really the performers and the artists move around the theater community, and Bellevue is just one place that they come to perform. We like to think that we honor our volunteer actors. We try and take care of them and feed them and give them comp tickets and make this experience a good one for them. I know for me, when I was a volunteer, I really liked that directors would respect my time. So as a director, I can say we try and be out of there at 9 o'clock almost every night. We don't do late nights. We try and respect your time. We honor our volunteers, and that way they can come here and do a show. They can be here, and we honor their travel time. And exciting thing, Zoom rehearsals. Who would have thought? But it was great. We were able to do initial rehearsals and just work dialogue and save travel time for those actors who are coming from Omaha. So we have a combination of Bellevue and South O, and I think that West O, yeah. And that happens with a lot of our shows.
Good. What's the relationship within the kind of metro theater circle, I guess, right? I mean, I'm making an assumption that Bellevue Little Theater must have a great relationship with Omaha Community Playhouse and et cetera.
We are a member of the Theater Arts Guild, which is called TAG, which is again an organization of all the volunteer theater artists and all the theaters within the community. And they share information. They share audition notices. There's a lot of support. We put, hey, we need this out there. So yes, it's a real nice communication between all those theaters. And particularly now with COVID, I think it's put more people in touch because we had to do so much talking. Joey and I were on a committee with UNO and a lot of the other, all the performing arts organizations early. How are we going to handle this? What are we going to do? So it made that communication link even tighter. Yeah. So upside of COVID,
right?
It brought a lot of people together talking in a way we never had to talk before.
Very good. Outside of COVID, Marya, how does the community respond? And I guess what I mean by that is, do you typically sell out your performances? Are you, making budget? I know COVID has been odd, but outside of that,
it always depends on the show. It really depends on the show. Catch Me If You Can, we couldn't pack them in there tight enough, and then we do something and Murder in the Orient Express blew out the walls. Everybody loved that. And then we have things that, people who come love, but, oh, that's bad. That's against Super Bowl, or that's, everybody, it just depends where you are in the season. It depends on the weather. You know, the snow can really wreak havoc. We always have really nice turnouts. We wanted to stay open for those intrepid souls who wanted to continue to be a part of live theater through this. And we've been able to do that with masking and social distancing. And we have this thing called Purple that's made especially for theaters that you spray all your seats and everything to disinfect. We've been doing that for day one and continue to do that, which is another great thing. Who would have thought? Somebody invented something for theaters immediately so we could start being a safe place to be. So we always want more participation from audiences. We'll always make room for more people. And I think it's going to be a growing thing, getting people to come back in. So we're hoping with Zoom and live theater, we're going to build our audience base back up again.
Nice. Nice. What do you have any ideas of what we as the chamber or just we as community members here on this call can continue to do? I mean, outside of obviously buying tickets and showing up to the shows, you know, what can we continue to do to support?
Well, I think that continue to reach out to help us be a part of what's going on. I mean, we do Halloween, you know, we do the Christmas, Old Town Christmas. We've been part of all those things. So we want to continue to be a part of what the chamber is doing to support Bellevue. So that's one thing. The next thing is just when you have an idea about some way the theater might be useful or that we can open our doors to an event. You know, maybe there's a chamber event that, gee, this would be great. Let's bring it down and just get people in the building so that they can get used to coming there.
That's
so
a fantastic idea. We're always looking for new locations to hold different events.
Yeah, you know, and I know when I worked at the Playhouse, I was amazed at the number of events that happened at the Playhouse that didn't have anything to do with theater. You know, and that's a great thing. I mean, I think it'd be wonderful if people start having weddings at the theater. We had perfect wedding, you know. It's a wonderful little space. So how can this building be of use? Because with that, then we can also, we need to make some improvements. So we're going to be starting to look at how we can continue improving our building. My first show that I did at Bellevue Little Theatre, the movie screen was still there. We were upstairs in where the costumes are now. We'd run out the front door, run around the building and run in the back doors if you had to make it. That's how you made your entrance. You'd carry things so you didn't get wet. I mean, we've come a long way with the improvements that they've done down there, but there are still things we need to do. That's a historic building. And that's another thing. I don't know. Is there a way the Roxy can become a historic building? I think it's one of the few buildings in Old Town now that's kind of an original building. You know, it's from so that'd be another exciting thing to explore.
That's great. Yeah, great ideas. I have way dominated the conversation, so I'll turn it over to the rest of the group.
I was just going to add a comment. You know, we had ribbon cutting last night out at the sports complex, and there's a theme going on right now in the Bellevue community about getting the community involved no matter where it's at. And that's kind of, they talked about that last night at the Ball Diamonds. We want people to come for anything. And you'd mentioned weddings or whatever.
Right.
The same thing with your building with the Bellevue Little Theater. There's a lot of opportunity for doing all kinds of different kind of things. I think that could be a lot of fun I think of our own company. If we have an activity, your location would be a great place to do it.
And I think it allows some energy to come into Old Town. You know, right. We are a space. The Eagles and us are this little pod of activity in downtown right now. So it allows people to come in and be energize Old Town a little bit.
Nice. Yep. Tell us a little bit, Mary. I said I was going to stop talking. I apologize. You guys can't believe me. Tell us a little bit about the thrift store.
Oh, The thrift store is our godsend. It has kept us afloat through COVID. It's so fun because it's becoming the place to shop in Bellevue. You know, it's fun. Our volunteers are amazing. They run that store. Our volunteers run that store. They're open 10 to 4 Monday through Saturday. And it's all volunteer.
Nice.
They do that, and please bring things in. If we don't use them in the thrift store and we can't use them on stage, one of my favorite things is when Nancy and I start costuming a show, we go shop at the thrift store first. It's nice to have your own, and we don't even have to buy it. And when we can't use it, we make sure it goes to some place that can be used. So wherever it goes, if it comes to us, we make sure that it gets used. And the thrift store those ladies are amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, because it's a place they come and visit, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that everybody can. It's another way to give to the theater, is to give to the thrift store, and hopefully we help you out too. There's the ladies are always putting something fun on the mannequin down there. Yeah. And like I said, it's been a godsend through COVID. It has really helped keep us afloat.
Good. That's good to hear. Who else has questions or comments?
I feel like it's been a conversation with us, Kevin.
It's just so fun. You know, I know several of us on the call have been around Bellevue for quite some time to see the transformation of the building, right? Because I can remember going to see theater movies at the Roxy,
Right.
as well as you know, obviously having been involved in Bellevue Little Theater in the early days, just briefly through some friends got connected. But to be able to see that transformation, and again, I really do believe it being very much an artistic mainstay of the community, let alone of Old Town. It'll be exciting once we have the new development up across the street where the old city administration.
We're excited to see who our neighbors are.
Yeah,
We're excited to see who our neighbors are. Although I have to say, we missed the parking lot.
oh. Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah. But yeah, we're excited to see who our new neighbors are. So yeah.
Well, good. Anything else, folks?
Well, this is Christine, and I'm really excited because I have to plan my husband's and my anniversary activity, and for the next 3 years. So it's on the 30th, and I get to live stream. I'm going to live stream it because he's not going to do activities, where he's enclosed. But I'm excited about this because it gives us a chance to have a night together, and it's going to be a little creative. So thank you.
Oh, well, I am so glad. And I think the information on the live stream is going up this week.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. And that's exciting. And that's exactly why we want to do this.
So we have another daughter, Abby, and her husband are driving over from Iowa City in a couple weeks to partake and watch Big Sister and perform. So that'll be a lot of fun too.
There you go. Yes. And here's the other thing. My husband's sister lives in San Diego, but for the first time in a long time, she's going to get to see him in a show because she can live stream it.
Oh yeah. That's so true, right? Friends and relatives, no matter where, can watch their friends and neighbors on stage.
And neighbors, and I think particularly with so many kids that I had at West whose parents were deployed or whatever, what a great thing that would have been for us at the time.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to record things because of the laws. And now there's a streaming option you can buy with almost every licensing agreement. So we pay extra to do that, but I think it's a wonderful opportunity. And I just think I wish I'd had it when I was teaching, because there are so many parents or deployed or overseas or not, that couldn't see their kids.
Yeah.
Well, and
We
it's
did-
it's cool to have that as an option too, because I have family outside of the state that for the first time will be able to see kind of myself do a show. But even from the theater's own, own being, to open it up to people who aren't local and to show folks outside of our state or outside of our community what the Bellevue Little Theater is and what it can do. That's a really cool opportunity that I think has been a massive blessing coming out of COVID, for sure.
I had never thought about that. We're going national. We're going
Mhm.
national. It's like in the show.
That's
All
right. Not only are you having premieres, you're having world premieres.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, really world premieres. Yes. Fabulous. Well, thank
Marya,
you.
this has been fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. And any final thoughts, comments from anybody in the group, or Marya, anything that you've thought of that you want to be sure we know?
Just thank you. I hope you come on out, see this show and every show. And remember, you can live stream like Christine and get dinner out and have dinner and a show right in your own comfort of your own home. Who needs the recliners in the movie theater, right? You got your own recliner. And seriously, we really, any ideas or thoughts, let us know. And if you do want to have that wedding or the whatever, hey, I'm thinking the baseball field wedding is a great idea too. Contact me. We are excited to be a part of what's going on in Bellevue. And
Well,
Sarpy County.
I do think we need to circle around and maybe do some brainstorming and investigating this arts festival.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as always, thanks everybody for joining in. Another, I think, just fantastic Coffee with Kevin, learning so much more about what's going on in our community. I know I get on the soapbox, but we have so much to be proud of and so much to be excited about in Bellevue. We don't have to be looking at other communities and saying, how come we're not doing these things? We need to start touting what it is that we've got going on in our own community. So Marya, thank you for being part of that. Thanks for being part of the board and continuing to emphasize the importance of arts in our community.
Thank you, Kevin. And nice to meet you all. I hope to see you at the theater.
Fantastic. Well, we'll see you for sure on the 1st. And we'll see all of you hopefully next week on Coffee with Kevin. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you.
Great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye all. Have a great one.